Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Theme Park Society, a place where we talk about guest experiences in our favorite locations with a special focus on the sweetest place on earth, Hersheypark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you find tons of value in this episode and in our show overall. I'd like to ask that you'd kindly follow us on whatever platform you are listening to this episode on. If you're joining us on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe as it helps our channel grow. Additionally, if you are listening to this episode on your favorite podcast platform, please feel free to give us a rating, a review, and then share us with a friend. These few simple steps really help our show grow. Without further delay, let's look at today's topic. We have an important one to go over, and I am very excited to bring this information to you. Today, we are going to look at accessibility and safety at Hersheypark. Hersheypark wants everyone to have a sweet experience during their visit, so today, we're going to look into some of the accommodations one could expect to see on property. We will also go over some of the available programs and how one might expect to take part in them. There is a lot of information to take in with this one, and we will not be covering every last detail in this episode. But we will make sure that you leave here with a ton of information, and we will direct you to the proper resources to find additional information you may need. With that being said, let me give you a quick outline of the specific topics regarding accessibility that we will be looking at today. We are definitely going to look at parking, because that is the guest's first experience of the day. We are also going to be looking at wheelchair and ECV rentals, which can be rented before you even enter the gates of Hersheypark. We will also talk about accessibility in the shows, entertainment, and the zoo, which a visit to the zoo is included in your park ticket. Additionally, we will talk about guests with hearing impairments, guests accompanied by service animals, guests with dietary concerns and restrictions, and then a rather popular topic of interest, the Attraction Accessibility Program. Before we move forward, I just wanted to state something that you probably already know, but all of Hersheypark's up-to-date accessibility information can be located on their website as well as right through the official Hersheypark app, which, if you know me, you know that I am always recommending that guests download the app. We'll probably take a deep dive into the app and its full functionality at some point in the near future, but that's not what today's episode is about, because today it is all about accessibility and safety at Hersheypark. Let's start off by looking at accessibility before you actually enter the park. The first stop, of course, being the parking lot. It goes without saying, but of course there will be accessible parking. But where this parking is located would be a more common question. As you may or may not know, the parking lot for Hersheypark is pretty massive and can sometimes become a bit confusing if you are not a frequent visitor. With this being said, upon entering the parking lot, you will have parking access to multiple on-property venues, such as the Giant Center, Hershey's Chocolate World, Hersheypark Stadium, and of course, Hersheypark itself. Be sure that you are following the signs to the accessible parking for Hersheypark. The parking lot typically opens 2 hours before the park opens. If you arrive prior to open or shortly after open, the parking lot situation may be a little bit easier as there will be parking attendants readily available to point you in the right direction. But let's talk about the parking information a little bit more so you know what to expect and what to look out for when visiting Hersheypark. The most common accessible parking will be right up by the entry gates to Hersheypark. These accessible spots are actually located within the exclusive season pass holder lot, so navigating to these spots with or without a parking attendant is usually pretty seamless. A benefit to this specific lot is ease of exit when the park closes, because the entire parking lot does tend to get pretty backed up as the park closes. There are additional accessible spots located within Hersheypark General Parking, and you will find these spots right in front of the second or the middle tram drop-off. I believe it is labeled Tram Spot 2 or B or something like that, but the easiest way to locate it is the fact that it is the tram spot with the large and really the only restroom in the parking lot. Now, please keep in mind that there may be times where the tram is not running, but these times are few and far between at this point, especially when the park is crowded. Now that we've covered parking, let's take a look at another service that you will find right outside of the gates of Hershey Park, the wheelchair rentals. Like I said, you will easily find the wheelchair and mobility device rentals right outside of the entrance gates. The rental location is right between the restrooms and the chocolatier restaurant, and right across from the ticketing counters. Here, you can rent wheelchairs and ECVs. Now, a couple quick things to note with this one is that ECV rentals are for ages 18 and older, and I do believe that they will have you take a quick training before they allow you to rent an ECV. As for pricing on these, I want to say it is about $45 for an ECV, and then a wheelchair will be $15. One last thing to keep in mind is that they will hold on to your license as a form of a deposit for the rental. But again, they make rentals, pickups, drop-offs, they make all that stuff very, very simple for the guest. These rentals are on a first come, first served basis, but I often say to get to the park early and get your day started early. Hersheypark does invite guests to bring their own units, with the exceptions of the ones that are listed on their website. I think they say no to golf carts and two-wheel balancing electric vehicles such as Segways, but again, that information is made very clear on their website. Guests are able to use an aquatic wheelchair at certain boardwalk attractions, which is the water park, of course. And guests are directed to see a lifeguard on site during their visit for more information regarding that. Let's take a look at wheelchairs in the shows, because there really is something for everyone, especially as we see more and more entertainment come to the park. One of the most popular shows takes place in the Aqua Theater over by Hershey's Triple Towers. Hershey Park does state guests using wheelchairs and other mobility devices can enter from both the upper and lower entrances. If you are unfamiliar with the entrance locations, the upper entrance is next to the Triple Towers, kind of by the Zoo America entrance, and then the lower entrance is down behind the Triple Towers, right near the Trailblazer catering area. Another spot would be the indoor location called the Chevrolet Music Box, which is located right by the monorail entrance. This location really only has one entrance, so there's no other information really needed for this entrance specifically, but as for all of the shows, it is recommended that you arrive about 20 minutes prior to the show if you will be needing any assistance, and there will be staff available to assist at all show entrances. There's kind of just always staff at these entrances anyway for multiple reasons, so even if you're just passing by and you don't plan on going into the show at any point, they are always happy to answer any questions you may have or point you into the right direction of whatever you're looking for. Let's take a look at a visit to the zoo, because it is going to be included in your park ticket. Make sure that you enter the zoo from the park. If you try to enter at the main gates, they will charge you an extra admission to the zoo. All indoor exhibits at the zoo are equipped with automatic doors for both the entrances and the exits of the exhibit. As for viewing angles, there may be some viewing angles that are not necessarily accessible, but there are alternate viewing areas in every one of these cases, and you'll get a really nice opportunity to enjoy the exhibit and what it has to offer. As always, Zoo America staff will be happy to answer any questions you may have while you are on site. Another point we want to take a look at today is guests with hearing impairments. Assistive listening systems are available in both the Aqua Theater and the Chevrolet Music Box. As with rentals in the park, I do believe that they will hold on to the user's license as a form of a deposit, but these units are quick and easy to return after use. If a guest would like to use one of these systems, they are directed to arrive to the show 20 minutes prior to the show's start time. That way, they can receive use of one of these systems and enjoy the show from the very start. If a guest is unable to hear attraction loading and unloading instructions as well as show audio, they can access written boarding instructions as well as show scripts from park personnel. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. The safety points on rides is very important, so please note that this is available to you. Next, let's take a quick look at what Hersheypark says about guests accompanied by service animals. I don't think this information is going to be much different than one would expect, but I'm pretty much just going to refer to Hersheypark's accessibility PDF for this one, because there is a good bit of information here. Of course, service animals are welcome in Hersheypark, but there are a few guideline points you can easily access on Hersheypark's website or official app. It is about a paragraph or so long. One thing you'll see is there is a list of attractions that service animals will be permitted on. I am not going to read through the list right now, but you will see that there are a few and you're easily able to access that information at any time. As for the boardwalk, I do believe service animals are permitted to enter up to the water's edge on certain attractions, but again, the boardwalk is incredibly well staffed, so no questions should go unanswered. On other attractions, they will have someone else in your party stay with the service animal while you ride the attraction. The last two things that I want to look at today are going to be guests with dietary concerns and restrictions, and then the attraction accessibility program. We'll take a look at the food and dietary concerns first because that is going to be a pretty quick one, and I'm not really going to do a super deep dive into this right now. I just want to give you some pretty useful pointers. Hersheypark is an absolute treasure when it comes to food, snacks, and beverages, so I can confidently tell you that we have some pretty neat and detailed food episodes coming up. But as for today, we are just going to be looking at the food safety portion. So we're talking about food, and regular me is going to bring up the official Hersheypark app again, which I am sure is no surprise to you. The app is not only useful for mobile ordering food, it is also helpful when it comes to filtering out your food choices. What I mean by that is there are dietary options within the app that will actually allow you to eliminate options that may not fit your dietary concerns. Within the app, you will have the option to search for gluten-free, nut-free, and dairy-free options. Not only will the app allow you to filter out your food search to an extent, it will also tell you the location's meal options and ingredients. The app also includes allergen notes under most, if not all, of the meals. It'll say things like soy, wheat, sesame, and more. But it will also tell you to verify allergens at the counter. I've been to the park with people who had certain dietary restrictions, and while yes, please do verify allergens at the counter before ordering, the app in itself is definitely a great basis to start your food search. Again, talk to the staff with any concerns because Hersheypark is huge on safety, and we're also all about fun and safety here. We can talk about food all day. Like I said, Hersheypark has phenomenal food offerings in the park and throughout property, so there's definitely a lot to unpack here, and we are always happy to do so. Let's look at the final topic of today's episode, and that is going to be the Attraction Accessibility Program. First, what is it? In Hersheypark's own words, our Attraction Accessibility Program matches the individual abilities of our guests to the ridership criteria for each attraction. End quote. Second question, how and where to enroll? Guests who are looking to enroll in this program can head over to any guest service counter. There are a few, and some commonly have longer lines than others. Once at guest services, guests will be asked to complete and sign an attraction accessibility questionnaire. Third question, what is the process used with the attraction boarding pass? So, guests with certain qualifying accommodation needs who receive an attraction boarding pass will typically enter the appropriate attraction through either the accessible entrance or the fast track entrance. Even if you are unfamiliar with the fast track system, you will quickly see that Hersheypark does a great job at labeling all of the attraction entrances. So take a look at the signage around the attractions for a clear indication on where to go. Guests who receive one of these passes will be permitted to have up to 3 guests join them upon entering through their proper attraction entrance, which again is either going to be the accessible entrance or the fast track entrance on most attractions. It just depends on the attraction and the personnel guidance. Again, up to 3 joining guests at the time of entering the attraction line. If there are additional members in the party, they will need to enter using the designated attraction entrance. Park personnel will need to verify your pass and also verify safety requirements. Guests may be required to wait several ride cycles before boarding the attraction, and the guest with the qualifying attraction boarding pass will need to be present and riding the attraction in order for the members in their party to join them in that specified line. And again, it is up to 3 additional members per attraction. Now that we've gone over some points of safety and accessibility in the park, let's talk about where you can find additional and more in-depth information regarding both safety and accessibility in the park. Again, no surprise, but Hersheypark's official app and official website will allow you to download an in-depth PDF with all of this information and so much more. You may be wondering why I keep bringing this up. Everyone knows that this information is available on park websites, but I must say that I was incredibly impressed with how easy of a read Hersheypark made this entire section. I downloaded the entire PDF. It was like 27 pages, but I'm telling you that the information was incredibly easy to unpack and understand. In this PDF, you will also find listings to all of the attractions, their height requirements, their safety precautions, and their accommodation stats. So, whether the attraction allows service animals and more. Definitely check it out. Here, you'll not only find accessibility and park safety information, you'll also find food and beverage information, quiet areas in the park, and so much more. Instead of browsing random websites for this information, I promise you that Hersheypark has it all readily available for you to locate and read, and it is super easy to find safety and accessibility information in the 27-page download. So that about sums it up for this episode, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. Whether you are going to use this information or not, I think that it is an important thing to know. People ask these types of questions every single day, and what a great opportunity it is to have this information available. As a show or blog or whatever you call this thing that I do, I find it incredibly important to spread information that can make someone's trip a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable. Whether I am researching park information to give you or I'm just sitting here talking about a theme park, I just hope that it helps bring some light and positive feelings into your day. So anyway, with all of that being said, we are going to close out this episode and start working on the next one, and we hope to see you there. Thank you so much for listening to Theme Park Society, and have a great day.